It was a rainy Sunday morning, the kind where clouds hide the sky and silence fills the streets. Inside a small, aging church tucked between two apartment buildings in a forgotten part of the city, the air was filled with the soft hum of prayers and the scent of old wooden pews. The congregation was sparse, just a few old souls with tired eyes, a young mother clinging to faith, and one little girl with tangled hair, her tiny hands folded tightly, eyes shut harder than they needed to be. God. I just want a dad for Mommy, she whispered under her breath, a soft trembling voice that barely reached the dusty ceiling. She didn't know her words were heard, not by the priest, not by her mother, but by a man sitting in the very last row, hidden under a dark coat, sunglasses on though there was no sun inside. His name was Alexander Hale. A billionaire. Cold, calculated, and powerful. CEO of one of the largest tech firms in the world. That morning, he hadn't come for prayer. He'd come for silence. For solitude. After burying his own mother the day before, something inside him had broken. He didn't believe in prayer. Not anymore. He didn't believe in kindness either, it had been torn out of him by life, piece by piece. But that voice, that little girl's voice, pierced through all the walls he'd built. He watched her as she hugged her mother's waist. Her mother, mid-30s, worn but beautiful in the way that suffering makes people glow differently, like they've been through fire but still somehow shine. She looked like someone who had loved deeply and lost quietly. After service, the little girl skipped to the altar, knelt again, and whispered something else. Her mother gently pulled her away, and they left, soaked in the soft drizzle outside. Alexander followed from a distance. He didn't know what he was doing. It was madness, he thought. He'd built empires, crushed competitors, and yet here he was, trailing a single mother and her daughter through a wet alley like a lost soul. He saw them enter a modest building, 5 floors, peeling paint, laundry flapping in the rain. The next day, Alexander did something he hadn't done in decades, he walked. No driver. No assistant. Just a hoodie over his head and coffee in his hand, waiting across the street. He saw the mother walk her daughter to school and then hurry toward a nearby diner where she worked as a waitress. He went in, sat at the corner table, and watched her serve customers with a smile that tried so hard to hide the tiredness beneath. He kept coming back. Day after day. Watching, listening. Not because he pitied her, but because something inside him began to thaw. That little girl's prayer echoed in his ears like a melody he couldn't forget. I just want a dad for Mommy. One day, a man came into the diner, drunk, loud, cruel. The mother flinched when she saw him. The girl wasn't there, but Alexander was. He saw everything. The man shouted, accusing her of taking his money, calling her names. She didn't respond. She just stood there, trembling, holding back tears. Alexander stood up and approached them. Is there a problem here? His voice was low but firm. The man turned to him, scoffed. Who the hell are you? Alexander didn't need to answer. The manager intervened, called security. The drunk man left, cursing. The mother whispered, thank you, but Alexander only nodded and walked out. The next day, he returned and left a note with the cashier. It read, let me help. No strings. Just kindness. The note had a card, and the card had an address. She didn't come for days. Then one evening, she knocked on the gate of a house so large, it looked like it belonged in a magazine. She clutched her daughter's hand, unsure why she was even there. Alexander opened the door himself. No butlers. No staff. Just him. They sat. Spoke. About life, about struggles, about the little girl's dreams. Her mother cried, quietly, when he offered to help, not with charity, but with dignity. A job. A real one. In his foundation. She had a degree. She had potential. Life had just beaten her down too many times. Weeks passed. Then months. The little girl bloomed like a flower. Laughed more. Sang in the hallway. One night, as Alexander tucked her into bed, something he never imagined himself doing, she looked up at him with sleepy eyes and said, "You came because God heard me, didn't he?" He smiled, the kind of smile that feels unfamiliar on your own face. "Maybe he did," he said. Her mother stood in the doorway, silent. Watching the man who had everything money could buy but never knew love, now cradling her daughter with the gentleness of a man reborn. Alexander never tried to replace anyone. He didn't need to. He simply became present. Kind. Honest. Not perfect. But real. And in that little girl's heart, he became the answer to a prayer whispered in a forgotten church, on a rainy morning, when all she wanted was a dad for her mom.